Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals just like you learn all the ways to grow their firm, sharpen their skills, and have consistent increasing sales. I cover topics such as detaching from the emotional side of the sale, having paradigm shifts in the most important part of your business, which is the nucleus of your accounting firm, sales, and how to see an objection really as an asset and stop giving away your time for free for those that don't deserve it. So you can actually get paid your value and your worth and grow your top line revenue. You'll learn tips, sales strategies, as well as hear from personal interviews from successful accounting professionals. This podcast will show you exactly the blueprint on how to create the firm and life of your dreams full of abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. And today we have a very special guest. Our special guest is Wes Schaeffer, also known as the Sales Whisperer. He is an entrepreneur who rehabilitates salespeople and trains their managers too. He is a reassuringly expensive copywriter, sought out after speaker, and marketing automation expert. He is also the author of 2.5 books on sales, marketing, CRMs, and he's the host of the Sales Podcast. He hosts the CRM Sushi Podcast and will also help you grow by masterminding the overlooked truth in life that makes any sales that you need to make every sale. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But before we welcome Wes to the show, you always know that I like to share something with you. And I know that a lot of you have a challenge with following up with clients, maybe the ones that aren't a good fit, and other prospects that you want to work with, but maybe it's just not the right time. And I'm actually in the works, or it might be launched by the time this podcast goes live, on my new Abundant Accountant Sales app. So this is an actual sales tool where I've made videos and emails and all the things so you can follow up with your clients. Now, to get access to it, make sure to head on over to 5stepsToabundance.com. You'll get my 5-step process that accountants typically use to go like from waiting around for busy season to actually gaining more confidence, but you'll also get on my email list. So make sure to hop on over there, sign up. It's a great, useful tool that you can put into action today. And you'll get on the email list, and I'll send you a link to the app where it might help you. Make sure to head on over to 5stepsToabundance.com, and you'll get my 5-step process on how to go around from, waiting around to get busy every year to, having consistent cash flow throughout the year. So make sure to check that out. Also, I would be super grateful if you could leave a written review on Apple Podcasts right here. The written reviews do help the show grow. It helps spread the words of everything we're teaching here on the podcast to other colleagues of yours that might really need some of this help. So that's how the Apple Podcast department works, and the written reviews really help spread the word. So I'd be super grateful if you could leave a written review, and thank you for taking out that 30 seconds to do so. And now let's welcome Wes to the show. Welcome, Wes, to the show.
Hello, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for being here with us today on the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It is an honor to have you, and I always love talking to my fellow, sales advocates because, sometimes selling can feel like not so good for a lot of people. Like in my last class with a lot of accountants, it gives them the jitters, or we always have to feel like we have to validate or justify our prices when we share them. So I know it's not easy for many, and it's super overwhelming and terrifying, but I love, being here to help others and bringing people like you on to help them too. So before we get started, can you share with them who you are and just a 1-minute intro?
So, even though I've trademarked the name The Sales Whisperer, the reality is I hate sales as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
I was in the Air Force. I left to jump into sales, but I was always looking for I don't know, cleaner, more ethical way to do it because I don't like the traditional hard closes, alternate of choice, high pressure tactics and gimmicks. And so I've never had that approach. Zig Ziglar said it best. Selling is the transference of a feeling, and that feeling is confidence. So if you can help someone feel confident that they have been listened to, that they are understood, and you really are there to help them. Yeah, they give you some money for whatever, a product, a service, a consultation, but if it improves their life, if they pay you $5,000 and you save them 10 or 50 or help them make an extra million, I mean, then you should be paid for helping them, and that's
Hmm.
really what I try to help everyone do in every industry.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, that's perfect. You fit the mold with everyone who's listening. I mean, I actually love sales, but doing it in the way like you said, where you're transferring the feeling, which is having them feel confident about an area that sometimes you lack in, or in the service or product, and also the confidence piece that comes across when you understand what to do. I think a lot of the confidence is missing, especially in the area of sales, because there's no process, there's no game plan. It's just like, oh, we'll meet with the client and do my best for them to say yes. And that's not always the best. So today we're going to talk a few things. We're going to focus on what are some of the best questions to ask when meeting prospective clients? Because sometimes, like if you're super uncomfortable with sales, you just want to go right to here's my price, here's my invoice, here's what I'm going to do for you. But that's more of like a transaction and like a commodity and not a relationship built type of sale. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And Wes, if you're listening, by the way, not if you're listening, because you are listening, grab your yellow notepad and a pen. And if you're driving, you can just favorite this episode and take notes later. But we're going to give you actionable questions that you can use, like right now when you're meeting with prospects, to have them open up, to have them get to the part where you're transferring that feeling of confidence, like you were sharing earlier. And we're also going to talk today. I know, Wes, we're going to talk about it because we talked about it earlier. Having some situational awareness and understanding what that is, and when to be okay. I need to maybe stop talking, or maybe I need to really listen to what my prospect is saying and not just shove things down their throat. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Well, and in every industry, um, the listening is important. When you hear about a bedside manner, of a physician, what does that mean?
Mhm.
It means they are listening, that they're diagnosing, before they prescribe. Even if you know the answer, the customer needs to feel listened to and understood.
Yep.
Okay, and so I don't know if there's a one set answer, but if you let's look at some of the I don't know, higher end professions, right? Accounting, financial services, legal,
Yeah.
healthcare.
Let's talk about accounting, because that's who's listening, right? All the accountants.
Right. But all of them, what they have in common is you're charging good money to provide a service, a result to help the customer get better. And so it's like kind of like a doctor. What's the best question they should ask? Well, it's like, what's going on? Basically, like, why are you here? Now you have to ask that in a nice way, but in all those situations, you sit down with an attorney. Hey, what's going on? How can I help? You go see an accountant. What's going on? How can I help? Okay. They have to start asking talking a little bit. And then really you just say, wow, interesting. Tell me more. How long has that been a problem? who besides you is worried about this? If you're dealing with a business client and you try to sell them or make a recommendation, oh, you know what? That's really good. I'm gonna go get my partner, or look, I'm the CEO, but I need the CFO to sign off on it, or I'm the CFO, I need the CEO to sign off on it.
Oh, that's a great question to get another decision maker there so you don't waste your time. A lot of us, and I talk like I'm an accountant when I'm here because, we meet with a business and the business owner isn't there. And then at the end of the meeting, they're like, okay, thanks so much. I need to go review all this with my partner. And you didn't even know they had a partner, but this is a great way to bring that up front, right when you're first talking to them, as maybe your second or third question that you ask. Can you repeat that one more time, Wes? Because the way you phrased it was perfect.
Yeah, and because you have to be careful with this. Okay, so I'll use a very over the top example just to make a point
You have a
quickly.
story.
Well, no, like I could, so like I'm looking at vehicles right now, okay?
Mhm.
And let's say you come on the lot as a woman and I'm the misogynist, chauvinist, old school salesman. Well, hey, little lady, where's the man that's going to make all the decisions? Because
Mhm.
clearly women don't buy trucks. So who are you trusting to make this decision? You're like, yeah, hey, a hole, I've got the money and I'm leaving.
Right.
Okay. But I do need to know, hey, thanks for coming to the lot. Is this for you? Is this for someone else? Are you doing some research? Like, where are you in your truck buying journey? It's a nice way of saying, do you have someone else? Okay. Are you bouncing
Mhm.
this off of somebody? So in
Yeah.
business, we can't just say, well, hey, Michelle, thanks for coming to Wes's accounting service. Are you the decision maker?
Yeah, we can't ask like that, but I love how you said it earlier, like who besides you knows about these challenges in your business. Like that's a great subtle way to bring up who else is the most important person that should know about this.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily the most important person, but it's like, look, smart people surround themselves with smart people. Okay? I mean, I'm not a dummy, but I'm not an accounting expert, you know? So if you start just telling me all this stuff, like literally, we're doing our taxes right now. We had the same tax guy for many, many years. My wife dropped him off just last week,
Mhm.
and they called my house, or they called my cell phone, and they said, "Hey, Mr. Schaefer, yeah, your wife was just here. We just had a few questions." And I'm like, "Well, she's running some errands." They say, "Yeah, we left her a message." I said, "Well, go. You can ask me. I might know." They asked me 3 questions. I didn't know the answer to any of them. I was like, "Yeah, I guess you got to wait for her to call back." So technically, I'm the president of the company. Realistically, my wife knows everything. She knows more about the guts of it. you
Right.
know, I I do the sales. She does all the behind the scenes stuff. And so, you have to ask, "Hey, thanks for calling. I'd love to set up a time, have you come in. In the interest of time, would it make sense, to have the financial people on your team come in with you so we can get everything out on the table at once and see if there's a good fit." Team? I wish I had a team. Man, it's just me. It's me, myself, and I. It's
Right.
like, oh, that's a good idea because I don't even want to go to this meeting, to tell you the truth. But my wife says that we got to do this and blah blah blah. So let me check with her and I'll call you back. So now you know the relationship. All right, Wes is the face of the company, but his wife runs the behind the scenes. So a smart accountant is going to wait until we're both available, or maybe just the wife's available. So in this case, you'd probably be better off just meeting with her because I don't want to be there.
Right. But I think it's important to figure that out because, one of the biggest complaints I hear from a lot of accountants, we're working 14, 18-hour days. We get a lot of time wasted by our clients. And this is one way you can actually take control and take ownership of your time and the value of your time. Because, someone like Wes, they're they're removed from the internal part of the business. He's the face of the business. But I always think about this, Wes, and I'd be curious to know because I do teach accountants. I think if you both are, let's say, 50-50 partners in the business, it's kind of like when you got married. you both came to sign a marriage document when you married your wife, right? It's not like, well, I'll come and we'll get married, but I'm not going to sign that, right now. I think when it comes to accountants and their clients and the taxes and the books and, especially on like tax planning engagements and these really big things, for your wife to go and then regurgitate everything to you before you're like, okay, yeah, I'll sign that. And yes, we owe this much or whatever. I feel like even if you're just sitting there and not even saying a word, at least your wife doesn't have to go and explain it again. And that's really what I share with each of you listening, is that how can we maximize and leverage our time? Because to go back and forth, call Wes with questions, then the wife knows all the answers. It's just like you feel like you're a ping pong ball getting tossed around.
Yeah, you got to put your foot down. I mean, look, eventually you see like experienced people and like how do they get more done? It's because they're not afraid to ask the hard questions and not proceed until they're done. It's like, yeah, I'd like to come in, just gotta get my taxes done. Hey, fantastic. Look, do you want them done right? Do you want them done on time? Or would you like to have 17 meetings and pay by the hour? Um, as we go through this. Well, I mean, of course I want them done right. Okay, look, I've got a 3-page checklist. Let me send that to you. There's some detailed items in there, and there's the important things, the mandatory things are marked. The optional but recommended things are also marked. Once you get all of the required and most of the recommended, let me know. We'll schedule a time, have you come in. This way, we can be super efficient. It'll save you some money. And I'll probably going to save you more on your taxes because we can get the questions answered. How long do you think it'll take you to get that done? Okay, I'm going to put it back on them. I need them to commit. Well, oh, wow, 3 pages. Oh, man. I mean, okay, right? So you got to, but it's like, I know the value of my time. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Okay. No, yeah, okay. Well, I'm paid by the hour. Just let them come in and ramble. Yeah, that's okay in theory. But you get these flighty people, and they're just going to get mad. Oh, I just went in to see Michelle, and yeah, I mean, she was smart and all, but man, she could have totally emailed me this thing, and she made me come in and charge me for what she could have just emailed me, and I still have to come back. She's just going to try to take your money. I don't really recommend her.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's all the front end stuff and figuring out the process to reduce the back and forth is what I'm hearing you say, Wes. And I am 100% aligned with that. What do you feel are some other great questions to ask prospects if you were we were at Wes's accounting firm that you think would be unique, different than other accountants that have never asked a prospect this before, to really set themselves apart and differentiate themselves from other accountants out there?
Well, this applies to any business, and I ask people, what are your top 3 non-negotiable criteria when choosing a new fill in the blank, when choosing a new accounting firm? What are your top 3 non-negotiable criteria when choosing a new primary care physician, when choosing a financial advisor, when choosing a fitness coach? So they're going to answer in one of 2 ways. Okay, they're going to rattle those things off, which means they've given this some time and some thought and some consideration. This is a serious buyer, or they're just kind of maybe a flightier person, that, and not necessarily flighty, right? Like I'm not flighty, but it's like I don't give too much thought to my accounting other than I know it needs to be done. I'm going to find the best and I'm going to trust them. Okay, so just, so if you ask me, it's like, oh, hell, man, I don't know. They, good word of mouth, good experience, good reputation. And they're aggressive. They're going to, I don't want them to cross the line, but I want them to go right up on that line and dance on it. Okay. Hey, Wes, I've been in business 20 years, blah, blah, blah. I feel the same way, and my guy, I mean, he was a former IRS agent, and he pushes it, doesn't cross it. Okay. So, but getting them to think, okay, so, hey, what are your top 3 non-negotiable criteria? So the other is kind of a variation of what we talked about. Hey, thanks for giving us a call. who on your team do you run things by? Like, who on your team um, do you count on for advice and recommendations and second opinions when you are, bringing in, when you're considering working with um, a new a new accountant, right, or a new financial advisor, or any professional that's going to help you in your business. So again, I want to know, like, my team. I wish I had a team. I mean, my wife for sure. I got to get her in on this meeting. But that's really it. Okay. So I mean, those are going to get you going down the right path. Um, and then of course, so depending on how they answer, you can go back and forth a little bit. If it's a business, there's different questions, but you need to understand that whoever's asking the questions is in control of the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. But they can't feel like it's an inquisition. There needs to be some give and take. Okay. You need to get the tough questions out of the way up front. All right. A lot of times people they delay going over pricing and kind of spring it on people. Uh, and so if you are maybe at the higher end, you want to start getting that out. You don't want to have a 30-minute or an hour-long meeting and then go, "Oh, you charge what? Oh, hell no, I would never pay that." It's like, okay, you need to get the tire kickers out of the way soon.
Oh, yeah. Accountants, I mean, for everyone listening, they know exactly who the tire kickers are. So I have a question, Wes, because, I'm not a big proponent about telling your prices 100% up front. I am okay with, I'm a boutique firm and we're definitely not the cheapest on the block. We, and talking about some of the differences, like you said, your accountant is aggressive. They have really good word of mouth, sharing that. But I feel like until the relationship is really built and they, like you said, you transfer that confidence over to them that you are the best accountant for that client, then it's okay to share the price. But what would you recommend in a subtle way to ask, or even a statement to a prospect, to really get rid of the tire kickers, like the super cheapies that only want a tax return done for a couple $100? And I mean, I think everyone listening is trying to get rid of those clients anyway, because we're really talking about the higher valued services. Like, I know a lot of accountants, we want to sell monthly bookkeeping. We want to sell profit coaching services, CFO services, tax planning, preventative options. So, like the doctor, we're looking for the preventative approach before we end up in surgery. So for their clients, those are higher fee services.
Yeah. Well, and that's the top three, right? Hey, Michelle, thanks for reaching out. Let me ask you something. What are your top three non-negotiable criteria when choosing a new accountant? Is this for yourself or for your business? Okay, and I'm gonna let you answer. Well, I mean, cost is a big thing. I mean, but and I'm saying, well, let me stop you right there, because we are not just the easy form, file it, minimum price, get it done, and never see you again.
Yeah.
So if you're just looking for a low cost provider like an H&R Block, I mean, I can give you some recommendations, but we're probably not a good fit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not so cheap. I mean, I'll pay for value. Okay. I'm asking that early on.
Yeah. And I think that's a great subtle way to incorporate it after asking. I think the first question is a great one, Wes. And I've actually never asked anyone this before or shared it with an accountant. So this is good. If this is gold, I would write this one down and put it on a sticky in front of your computer. What are the top 3 non-negotiable criteria when you're looking for a new accounting firm? Because to get someone to switch accountants is a big task. And then for your, are you looking for yourself or your business? And it's interesting because I also volunteer on the suicide hotline once a week. And one of the first questions we ask, because the people calling that line are sometimes calling for their kid or for a friend or a significant other? So is this like a first for themselves, or is this like a third party call, right? So we ask that even in that situation. And I think for business, it's super important because, if you're trying to only attract business clients, that's a real great question. Simple, subtle, very cordial question to say, oh, are you, is this service you're looking for yourself or for your business? And right away you can find out, oh, no, I don't have a business. Okay, well, I have some people that just work with individuals that I can send you to. And it only took up 5 minutes instead of an hour.
Yeah, and then you can subtly drop in some hints, right? So, like in my business, say, well, hey, okay, so this is just for you. Fantastic. So, are you looking for uh, private coaching? Are you looking for small group training, or are you looking for on-demand services that you can do at your leisure?
Hmm.
So, I just let you know the three different ways I can work with you. Okay.
Subtly, yeah.
And so just like you were saying, is this for, for pre-planning or for revenue protection? So all the
Different services that you want to offer, not the services that maybe you currently offer that you're trying to get away from and focusing more on the higher value type clientele. Yeah, that's a great way to say, and they might not know what they're looking for, Wes, to be honest. For a lot of the accountants listening, people like me, I don't really know what I need. That's why I'm coming to you. That's why I go to a doctor. I don't know how to fix myself. That's why I have, like you were sharing in the beginning, everyone listening, they are the surgeons. And a lot of successful business owners, we have no idea really what we need. That's why we come to you. And so, it's like even personal training. No one knows. You go hire all these personal trainers and dietitians because they're experts in their area for that specific need. And, for the accountants, that's you. You need to tell us what we need. We don't know. So how would you phrase that question, Wes, to say, instead of are you looking for? Because to be honest, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm being the typical business owner. Okay.
right. Well, but look, that's anything. We don't reach out until we've exhausted every effort to find the solution on our own.
Yes.
Okay. So I've tried TurboTax. I've tried paying my daughter's boyfriend who's an accounting major. I've done H&R Block, and it's like I just got this big tax bill, total surprise, plus there's late fees and penalties. Holy crap.
Yeah, that goes to the tax resolution people to help you negotiate with the IRS and fix the problem. But, I see it as the preventative side that if a lot of the accountants could, I'm curious to know how you would still phrase that sentence, because if we phrase it right, because we're not looking for something typically. In your case, with that scenario, yes, they are, because they've got this big bill with a lot of interest and a notice from the IRS. That's always, yes, I need help. That's a red flag. But like, the business owner just getting started, to do it the right way, to take the preventative approach, it's a 180 difference of what the world of accounting typically has been, which is very reactive. We're reacting to people doing it on their own or not getting help from the get-go when they have a business. And I'm a huge advocate for that for all of the business owners that I ever meet. I'm like, I refer them out to all the listeners of the Abundant Accountant podcast. So it's so important. But if you put your accounting hat on, instead of to say, I'm curious what had you reach out or what you're looking for, I offer accounting services, bookkeeping, and the one other high level thing, how would you rephrase that to make it a little different? So it's not, what are you looking for? What do you need? Because they don't know.
Again, it goes back. So you start at the beginning. Hey, thanks for reaching out. Hey, Michelle, is this for your business or is this for yourself? Okay, it's for your
For
business.
business. Yeah, got that.
Yeah. And so, are you switching providers now, or are you transitioning from doing it yourself to having a third party firm do it.
I've never had any. I've never had any accounting. Help. We're doing a role play, by the way, everybody. I've never had. I've never had an accountant. I don't know why I would need one.
Well, what led to you calling me now? Something's happened. Because look, that's the reality. Something has happened. Okay.
I met my friend Michelle, and she said I need an accountant. She's a huge advocate. Even though I don't have any really money right now and my sales aren't that high. I mean, I plan to do about 1 million this year, but I met my friend Michelle and she said, you better get this done the right way up front. That's why I'm calling you.
Okay. So your friend Michelle sounds like a smart person. Um, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with taxes overall, and especially the COVID relief package, that was 4,000 pages and just passed last year?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm at about a 0.
Okay. Well, I mean, good thing that you called, but hey, if this is new to you, I mean, what would you say, like, if you were just spitballing this, right? I mean, what are your top 3 non-negotiable criteria
Love it.
that
I
you're
love,
looking for
yeah.
in an accounting firm uh, to help you meet or even surpass your financial goals this year? Because remember, it's not how much you earn, and we
Mhm.
can give you some tips on growing the business, but it's how much you keep. And we're certainly experts in ensuring, because look, we believe the government should be paid every dime that it's owed. We just don't believe in giving them a tip.
I love that. That's great. Yeah, I don't believe in giving them a tip. No, that's totally right, Wes. So I'm looking for in an accounting firm someone that can digest this to me in like fourth grade reading because it's all really confusing and makes me numb, all the numbers and all of it. And someone who can help me keep as much money as possible in my pocket because I do not want to tip the government, just like you said. And I'm looking for someone that keeps me in the loop because I've heard a lot of stories about accountants that never really check in with their clients. And that is definitely something that probably won't work for me.
Yeah, well, we've got an open door policy. I mean, we're all accessible. Let me ask you something. Do you want us to take this and run with it and just keep you updated, or do you want to be in on it, you know, every step of the way?
Even though I am not sure what I'm getting myself into, I do want to be with it every step of the way. I need to learn this. If I'm going to have a couple $1 million business, I need to understand the numbers, but I just never learned this. I'm really good at what I do. I just never understand. I need to figure out how I can keep the most amount of money and not tip the government.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's why you pay us.
Mhm.
Okay. And I mean, we're happy to explain everything that we do. And the reality is, we're not going to take any action that you don't authorize. But look, the laws are changing every year. You go to 100 different accountants, you go buy 50 different pieces of software, and you're going to get 150 different answers on what do you owe.
I know. That's the scary part. That's the terrifying part.
Right. So look, there is part art, there's part science to this. But as a third party firm, A, you're less likely to be audited. B, we have an audit protection service. It's a little bit more. We charge a little bit for that, but it's insurance. So we will defend you and protect you and represent you in case there ever is an audit. And look, we stand behind what we do. So it's, the government is big. They can be mean. They have literally unlimited resources. So you're doing the right thing in setting your ducks in a row before things get too big, because once that genie's out of the bottle and the IRS has their hooks in you, it's hard to get them out.
Yeah.
So we believe, a stitch in time saves nine, and hey, we're going to make sure you do everything right ahead of time so they never even notice you.
Awesome.
So does
Well,
that
thank
sound
you.
like the type of firm you'd like to work with?
It does. Thank you so much, Accounting Wes. That was a great role play. No, that was beautiful. And, I think for everyone listening, you should probably go listen to that again and just write it out. That was perfect. And I mean, not tip the government. That was well said. I've actually never heard that, Wes, in about 3 years. So that was a great little sentence that I'm going to, can I steal that? Because I'm going to add that in for all the tax planners listening in my new sales tool that you guys are going to get access to. So, yeah, no, it's awesome. Well, Wes, I know that your time is very valuable, and I just want to say thank you for taking out the time to be here with us on the Abundant Accountant podcast. I think this was a great conversation, a great way to lead off every prospect that contacts you to weed out those tire kickers, because none of us want those. Is there anything else that you would want to add that maybe we just didn't chat about yet that popped up in your head?
Well, there's a four-part motto I was taught in sales, and in business, right? But it's that selling is a calling, okay? Serving is its purpose, questioning is the process, and a sale may be the solution. Okay. And in your business, if you're the owner of the business, your number one job is to market your business. Well, Wes, I'm an accountant. My number one job is to do taxes.
Accounting,
No,
yeah, do the books. I know.
it's like, no, you can outsource this overseas. You can outsource it to hourly people who can do, hey, they can do it 70 or 80 or 90% as well as you can. Then you just review it, right? Perfect it. And look, people can learn how to do the taxes decently. Okay. Yes, you got the magic secret sauce, but nobody is going to love your business like you do. It's your business. So you've got to market it. And the part of marketing is sales. Okay. And you've got to realize, is this your calling? Okay. And if it is, if you know you're doing what you need to be doing, then you owe it to the community to get the word out, right? People don't do business with you for one of two reasons. Either they haven't heard of you or they have. Okay. So assuming they haven't heard of you, then are you serving enough people? And you serve them by learning how to engage them, how to get their defenses down so you can have an honest conversation. Okay. And the honest conversation, remember, a sale may be the solution. You may say, you know what? I don't do what you need. Let me refer you to somebody, or like, you know what? You don't even need us. Here's a coupon. Go download this software for $50 or whatever, and, save 50%. And look, do it yourself. So, when you get to this level or that level, if you have this problem, come back and see me. They're gonna look at you in a different light because you didn't force the issue. So don't think it's something like sales is something you do to somebody, right? It's something you do with them. It's something you do for them. If you're truly there to serve, then that will come out and let it come out.
Yep. Can you go through the four things one more time in case someone missed it? Because I think it was beautifully said. One more time.
So selling is a calling.
Yep.
Serving is its purpose. Questioning is the process.
And a sale may be the solution.
And a sale may be the solution.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Wes, for being here with us today on the Abundant Accountant podcast. It was an honor to have you, and glad to be friends with you. And, you have great stuff. Where can someone find you if they want to reach out or maybe read something that you wrote?
Pretty easy to find at thesaleswhisperer.com, and I'm on all the big social media sites, and contact us form is there, but all kind of free reports and hundreds of sales podcast episodes. So
yeah, he has lots of great stuff. So highly recommend listening to it and checking Wes' stuff out. And thank you again for being here with us.
Hey, my pleasure.
Thank you all so much for joining Wes and I here at the Abundant Accountant podcast. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I love spending my time with you. I wanted to share, though, that having your questions ready for when prospects call you and knowing which ones to ask first to get rid of those tire kickers, right? And to really work with the clients who you truly want to work with, it's a game changer. And I recommend rewinding this, listening to it again, and writing it out and putting it like in front of your computer. And I want to share, I work at the suicide hotline once a week. I volunteer about a half a day. And I don't come to that shift blind. I have my notes in front of me, just like I have notes on a sales call or anytime. Preparation is key. And Chris Voss talked about that in our previous episodes and how preparing for any negotiation is key. And you're in a negotiation 10, 20, 40 times in a day. So when a client prospect reaches out to you, that is the beginning of a negotiation. So write out your questions, be prepared, and be ready for when, you get the prospect, because you want to have a plan in place. I also want to let you know that I have been working super hard in the background on a sales tool app. It is an incredibly powerful sales tool that every accountant needs to stop winging your sales process, have a simple system in place to position yourself as the expert, convert more high quality clients at your higher value services, and really start having like total control over who you work with. So if you hate selling or lack the confidence, this app is going to be a tool for you. And in order to get notified about it, head on over to 5stepstoabundance.com and really learn how other accountants have gone from, waiting around for clients to really getting the confidence to ask for those higher fees. So once again, 5stepstoabundance.com. Lastly, I'd be grateful if you leave a written review, and thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.